Alright, so we're back. I know it's been a long time since I've done anything. Hold up a minute, let me just move that, sorry. It's been a long time since I've done like a model train video on this channel, or, well, really. And, we got something quite new, and we're also going to talk about the other models that I have, because I have more than the SD40F I showed once. And, yeah, so this thing's from, the train shop in Santa Clara. No, last hobby shop near me. And I just got something from there today. So we're gonna find out what it is. It's exciting. We got, cement paint, because I have a tanker car that I'm working on. But here's the box. I think that logo already says something already, but forget it. Because watch. Ready for the grand reveal? 3, 2, 1. Hold on. Wait, 3, 2, 1, and open the box. Oh, well done. No, I actually meant was here. Yes. This is an SDP40F. The ones that Amtrak used in the mid-1970s. I have a plan with this, and I'll tell you that, but first, let's set it on the track so we can actually get a good look at it. And here it is. Yes, it looks very, very pretty. It's prettier in person, but I don't know if the camera catches it. Oh, hi there, little bro. Oh, the lights stick out just a tiny bit. Oh well, should be fine. So, the reason why I got this, you might be thinking, okay, well, sir, why did you get this? I mean, yeah, also I don't own any Amtrak passenger equipment. This is the only thing that's related to a passenger train, but the reason why was because I actually wanted a Southern Pacific SDP40F because it would work well with my other SP locomotives, and I could consist it with my SD40F. But unfortunately, I bought it from a scam website, and they essentially scammed me. I found it in Roseville, but it was at a really high price. This was essentially Plan B, because I figured, hey, it matches my other locomotives for the era, so it would work. Plus, there was a bunch of Amtrak trains that had this exact locomotive. The next thing I would want would be like a Rapido F40 to go with it. Basically, they'll be just consisted. And after we run it, we'll just talk about the others. Alright, now it's time for the fun part. Detail review. I know usually this would be the probably the boringest part, but I feel like it's kind of cool to do that to show over the little features, because this one's a little bit different from the regular production models. Start here over at the front. We got ourselves the plow, couple air hose, MU cables for multi-units. Realistically, there was no handrails on these, probably for safety reasons. And also, if you're wondering why the door doesn't have the lines across, that's a real thing. That's what the real thing had. There's a headlight. Well, there's a headlight in the door, or there's also the anti-sun reflectant paint prevents sunlight from being glared into the cab. Down here at the trucks, we had somewhere right here would be the truck lights, builder's plate, side storage areas, cab door, and the cab does have an interior. Though funny enough, the controls are blocking your field of view. You can see it there. Like, you won't be able to see anything other than the controls. And I think, a Leslie SL4T horn, antenna, gyro light, number boards, class lights, which do work. We have the main gyro and the emergency gyro, which works. Coming onto the side, we have fuel. We have stuff for the fuel tank, you know, for the prime mover. It says fuel right here. Barcode, the logo Amtrak, the phase 2 paint, which I like. Then we have blue for the water for the steam heater. Coming a little bit to the back, we have the MU cables going to a little box. There's handrails at the back, side grab irons, rear class lights, rear numbering, also a big rear numbering for 611. No, not Norfolk and Western 611. Then we have eggs. Then we have at the top the exit vents to let out the steam from the steam generator, and a side vent too, because yes. And we also have a window that would look inside to the water or the steam heater. Coming on this side, over here on the engineer side, it's technically the exact same, except the barcode is moved closer to the cab. And you can see a little bit of the locomotive controls, or yeah, I will call it the locomotive controls. I know it's called something like the console. I don't know. You could see very clearly. It's fine. So you can actually see little lever, the little handles. We got what appears to be the dynamic brake, the throttle, and the reverser, and the gauges too. And moving on to the top, we have the exhaust vent, side vents, which are see-through, fan blades, and a side dynamic brake section, 3 more rear fan blades, which actually are shorter because this was supposed to run on the East Coast. More side vents, and then we have the rear section. There's also grab irons too, and another side vent. Trucks are kind of cool. If you look closely, you can see EMD on it, which is nice. And then we have, also I forgot to mention, here's a step to it. Looks a little weird. Has like a latch in it. But yeah. Oh god, that's weird. Okay, and now we'll review the other equipment that I have. In the last HO scale video I did, I showed off one of my favorite HO scale locomotives, number 9338. That, oh, and ignore the fan that's running, it's quite hot in here, is this. This right here. So, this here is one of my favorite tunnel motors. I got this back in March 27th of, I think, like 2 years, yeah, 2 years ago. It was the last time, right, because I had it before. So I got this in like March 27th of, I think, 2024, I would say. Maybe. It was a replacement for another tunnel motor that I had that I'll show in a bit, but I do go to a model railroad club, and it has run there before. It's helped like the SP, their oil can train that they have, and I'll probably have video footage of it running there, because I did record it sort of running there. Status-wise, it is in a pretty good condition, aside the fact that there's a missing side handrest here, that on the other side, as you can see, is very pleasant. It's this this black thing. To be honest, it kind of looked weird. And also, this handrail, let me get this in frame, this handrail right here likes to come off. I've been trying to fix it, but it just kept coming off. I don't know why. And I have to work on it because one of my club members told me that athearn likes to put contacts on their decoders, and this one hasn't, so I have to remove them so that it can work properly, which would explain why it would stop and start again constantly. It happened at the club, and it keeps happening at my lab. I thought it's the track problem, since the track is dirty or the wiring connection's poor, until it happened at the club, and that meant that there's something really wrong with it. And they just said that there are contacts on the decoder that I have to remove, and I have to solder those wires in for it to work. Next up is actually 9338's predecessor, that being 9359. This. So this one has quite a funny story, and a tragic one too. So this one I bought at a train store, not train store, fuck. It was a train show. Yeah, it was a train show somewhere in Fairview, I think. And I got this for, well, it was priced at $75. I got it for $100 because that's what I had at the time, and my father thought it was a scam. Though it turns out, doing the math with the change I got, it was actually the right price, so I wasn't scammed. I just didn't tell him. But anyways, this was because the earlier tunnel motor I have, which I will show you, it had a different type, and I wanted like the one with the shorter nose, because it was a snoot, because the other one I have has a snoot nose. This one I wanted because it had the shorter nose. This and 9338 are both SD45Ts made by athearn. This one being made in roughly 2005, and the other being made recently, though they don't sell them anymore. So it did run for a short while, and I have clips of it running, but what happened was I tried to give it a DCC decoder. Now back then I was more immature, so I wanted to get like, I wanted to get like the gyro light up top to work, even though it has bulbs and not LEDs like 9338 has. So I got like a ESU loc sound decoder. I tried to do it and it wouldn't work. So my grandfather was trying to like resolder it back in, so I wanted it back in, and like the soldering iron he used, he left it on a certain part for too long, and it overheated a capacitor, and now it doesn't work with only the lights working as an only sign of life. It can't move any forward. The couplers were removed because I thought I could fix it. Turns out it just fell into more misery. When I got this, let me see, where the hell did my fucking pen go? Or we can't find it. Oh well. So when I first got this, you can see the windows here are gone, and the E light that would be here, that's also gone. I don't know why. I don't know why the E light on this thing is removed. I guess the previous owner tried to make it into like a 90s SD45T, or like an or like some like late like an SD45T-2R from the 90s, and just have it weathered, but he didn't remove the gyro, like the main gyro. He just removed the E gyro light. So there's that. The vents up top, they are actually see-through though. There, you can see it there. And at the back are like the vents. You can tell it's older because it has you can see the motor box in it. On the newer one, it's already in the box. I could just show you. You can see right through because they pushed the motor box in to give the illusion that there's nothing there, which would be on the real thing. Since this was from 2005, you can see the motor box still there. There's a side handrail on this side that's missing. The cab likes to come off. The bell mount is off. And there's like you can see it closely here, like a small divot in the nose. I don't know how that got. I think that was there when I bought it, and now I don't know how to fix it unless you have to saw off the nose and put in a brand new one, which would suck. I will have plans to get this thing running again, but it will take such a long time because I have to get a brand new DCC adapter decoder board, then get a new one, replace the older bulbs with newer ones, and then add in the DCC and the sound thing decoder for it to actually have DCC. It could be a DCC silent, it could be that, but I think it sounds better if it had sound. And coming up next is one of my very first SP tunnel motors, and that being SP8304. SP8304 was bought from the very same train show as SP9359. It's almost the same age as it, although it's a little bit younger, being built in 2008, almost a year before I was born, so it's technically older than me. And this one is an SD40T-2 snoot. You can tell because of the snoot nose here. And it has like special antennas right here. Right here. Those would be used for the early MU systems for like DPUs before they could be remote controlled. So it was like very early DPU systems. And they would fit them on like the SD40T. Well, to fit the equipment in, they would stretch the nose out to fit it. It's one of the probably one of the only tunnel motors I have that started out as DC. They both were DC. Then I put DCC in them, and one doesn't, but this is the only one that started out as DC. I put in DCC in it, and it still works, albeit it doesn't run nicely. And its motor sounds like it needs oil. There is a lot of footage I have of it running. Some with when it was with DC, and some when it had DCC, which is what it has now. In the early, in its current state. Oh, on. Well, in its current state, it's in a very poor quality. You can tell because the horn is missing and the bell is missing, and also the handrails down here have bent in a little. Alongside the fact the rear handrail again is missing too. On the side here, you can see how on the conductor's side, the handrail back here seems to look almost. You can't see. Yeah, you can kind of see it's almost mangled a little. The handrail at front the handrails here have crunched in, and this handrail likes to fall inwards at times. And the class lights have low quality, with them just being just a circle dot or a silver dot. You can see it has the SP light package in there, and if you look closely, you can almost see. You can't see it here, but you could almost see the wiring in it too. Plus, also these vents on the side here like to pop out. Even if I push them in, they'd still pop out no matter what I do. So it's like that. Oh, and the rear handrail is coming off, and this one is missing its handrail. I don't run this as much as 9359 because one, it doesn't run as good and it needs a little bit of work. If I can actually consist it with 9338, well, I meant 9338 earlier, but if I could actually get it to run, then that would be nice. Because I tried to consist this with one of my other locomotives, but it didn't work, and now it's stuck going slowly. Next up is probably one of the not really the oldest, one of the first actual SP locomotives I got, and that is SP7155. SP7155, not 7551, SP7155, that I got back in, like 3 years ago, in freshman year. I might put some photos up on screen of it. But, I randomly got it because I thought, hey, it would look cool. It was kind of like my first, HO scale main road locomotive, since the very first one I got, which I will show you later, was a switcher, and it wasn't really used for road service. This one was, and I actually was quite happy with it, and this is how I got into the SP. Oh no. It was this exact unit. 7155, does run at my club. I have an SVL sticker that's on its box, or on the main cover of the box. It has run there several times, and I have like a bunch of footage of it running and photos of it at the club. And it's also in a sort of good condition, albeit the handrail back here was dented after trying to clean it, and the horn here is loose, and the sun visors have fallen off. But other than that, it's still sort of a good runner. But does it run? Sadly it doesn't. One day when I brought it to the club to try and give it a train again, it wouldn't start. It had power, it was getting the current, it just didn't move at all. I don't know what happened to it, or and why, since it hadn't run in a while, just decided to stop working. I'll probably have to, I think it's probably something that has to do with the oil in it, because it's 3 years old and I ran it a lot. But it could be something else. I'm not sure. we're now probably going to get into the oddball units of this section. The first one being SP600, an AC6000, surprisingly, by Broadway Limited. It's the box that we've been filming this on. This one is this one's also interesting because since it was donated to my club, but no one at the club wanted it, so me and my brother got one of them. There were two of them, actually. There was 600, which is the one I have, and 601, the one my brother, the one my brother got. It does run well, but I can't run it here because it has a weird problem where it just doesn't want to move. It gets power and still works, yes, but it just can't move. The thing was programmed on my club, and we're gonna have to figure that out. A lot of the equipment I have of Southern Pacific are like 70s/80s, maybe 60s. I don't really like 90s SP because that's kind of an overrated era with, like, you know, the speed lettering that's here, and the -9s and all the fancy power that they got in the 90s. Because technically that's kind of overfoamed. If you would like Google Southern Pacific diesel locomotives, only thing you'd find are like 90s paint jobs with like the speed lettering and the white stripe, and like the -9s because they had that, but then it wasn't really SP because they merged with Rio Grande in '88. But yeah, so this is kind of funny because this locomotive, which some of you know, is a fantasy one because it never actually existed. Southern Pacific never had AC6000s, as some would say, but they actually almost did, because you see, sometime in like 1996 or sometime in 1996, Southern Pacific placed an order for 3 GE AC6000s, numbered 600 to 602, and they were, I think, painted into bloody nose. I know someone's going to scream in the comments, but then the UP merger happened, where SP was bought out by UP, or theoretically the Rio Grande bought UP and then just became UP. And so the SP painted AC6000s were then repainted into UP colors, and then people thought SP never had them because, you know, oh, it's a fantasy. But, like, yeah, even though it's almost existed. So this thing's in pretty pristine condition, except the rear handrail back here likes to flip down, but that's really it. Interesting feature is that the rear radiator vent comes off and you can see the internals. So you can basically tear off limbs of it and then bloop, back to normal. Now, interestingly enough though, this thing has a version where it smokes on its own and comes through these exhaust, nicknamed the toaster exhausts, because it looks like a toaster. How it would work is you would, well, you can't hear, pull off one of the exhausts and pour liquid fluid in there, and then you could get it to smoke out. Which, yeah, it's kind of cool, I will admit. It's pretty nice. Usually, this one would always get paired with 601, but that's it. This one brings back childhood memories, because next up is probably one of my very first HO scale locomotives I ever got, and that is BNSF 3450. BNSF 3450 is an SW1500 for BNSF, which it's painted in H2 or something. I'm not sure. I'm not good with BNSF paints. I got this probably during Christmas. Well, no. I did get this because this was a Christmas gift that I got when I was 10 years old. I really wanted like an HO scale locomotive because I was with my model railroad club since I was 5, and I wanted an HO scale locomotive since the ones that they have were cool, and my brother had like a cab forward, like another Malay. There's also 2 BN SD 60 or SD 70Is that he has. And he has like a lot of model trains, and I never had a single one. And this here was my very first one. I was like really happy as a kid. I was like bouncing with excitement. And despite it being the very first model train I have, it's still in a relatively good condition, despite it being from like 2018 or 2019. The only, if I could find where my pointy went, or we're probably gonna have to substitute. Yeah, I don't know where. Oh, never mind, I found it. So you can probably see, this handrail here is off, and you could definitely tell in the you could definitely tell in the beginning, this handrail here was bent off. It was like that for years. I don't know why. I think my brother messed with it. Now, this one was quite a cool one to run because it had a lot of unique sounds and also had a goofy-ass horn. And plus the fact it was a switcher locomotive, since I did a lot of switching ops at my club's layout. To be honest, I never really ran it much. Not because I didn't want to or I was lazy, but because I never actually had a layout. Because this thing used to live at my grandfather's house for years, and it would never move. I would just take it out of the box and place it on the hardwood floor and just look at it for a time and set it on the tracks, because I had like a tanker car and like a bunch of other like plastic military cars. They looked really goofy. I wanted more like regular freight cars, like traditional freight cars. And also, by the way, that tanker's in horrible condition. It's like falling apart. But yeah, I would like to run it again because it would work. It's from Broadway Limited, by the way, so it's top notch. But it would start and stop like constantly. It's very jittery, whatever that is. But yeah, it's an oddball here because back when I was like 10 or younger, I used to absolutely love BNSF. Mainly because of the fact they had orange in it, and that was my favorite color. And I remember there was this old friend I had on Discord. He also used to foam over BNSF. I mean, I'm not sure, but I don't know what he's doing now. Probably gooning on something, but I'm now more foaming over the Southern Pacific than BNSF because, you know, kind of mid. It's like the only modernist locomotive out there, along with 600. It's well, actually, there's like 2 others that might be modern, but yeah. Also about the layout, I never really had a layout when I had my other locomotive, SP7155. That was also during a time when I didn't, or did I have it? No, I didn't have a layout back then, or maybe I did, I don't know. Probably had like a few pieces of track, but a real layout wouldn't come until like, I would say sometime in maybe 2020, or maybe like 2024, like September 2024 to be exact. When after I went to Hume Lake, my grandmother found a small train set there. It was the Lafayette train set, and although the set itself is in an absolute ruined state, it still the track still does work. I have extra track, a part of it now, so it kind of works. One part was from an extra track piece set. The other was extra tracks from my club, though those tracks are in a much worse condition than the others. So yeah. Remember how earlier in this section I talked about I had two other units that were modern? Well, here's one of them. This here is Norfolk Southern 8343, a -8 locomotive that's former Conrail. This one I got from it kind of has a humiliating backstory. I had a history. Hold on. In middle school, but I used to have like really good grades, and I got like honors roll 2 times. But in high school, I had to go to summer school for 3 years. Not only because, the people there are bad, but also the school I have, for some reason, hires child predators as teachers. I don't know. And since this was during, I think this had been during sophomore year that I got this, it was just basically an encouragement just to get better. Thing is, I never got better. That A never went up, or that A never came to B, and I just have it now. So yeah, we don't talk about that part. Oh wait, I just did. Damn. This thing, its couplers had been replaced because the original one sucked, and there used to be sun visors here, but they broke off for some reason. Well, no, they broke off when I was applying it. So yeah. There's also a chain back here. It's too dark so you can't see, but it was back here. That broke, and it's somewhere in the, up in the body. Well, this unit is thoroughbred, and I wanted Atlas Silver, meaning it's DC. But I wanted the athearn NS-9 that also had the thoroughbred with the striping. I really love early Norfolk Southern with the striping here because I thought that looked cool. I still think that would look much better on their modern Gevos than the still stripe. I mean, just think of it. It will look better. And here we have the other oddball modern unit. And surprise, surprise, it's another NS unit. And that being NS3035, a GP40 made by Athearn. It also has DC, just like 8343. And it has 2 3s in its road number, so they're kind of similar. And this one's also an ex-Conrail locomotive. You can tell by the patched over class lights right here. It's probably a more modern looking NS unit, likely used present day because of the more modern Norfolk Southern logo, the still stripe, and the ditch lights on the front. Also, it's a cheaper brand of Athearn, so there's no little detail. Funny enough, I actually use this for switching sometimes. And because of the fact it's a GP40, it's a standard, it's like a mainline road unit, but it can be used as a switcher. It does its switching job really good, and it is a very good runner. I often run this with 8343, which also is a good runner, sort of. This one is a very good runner, and also it has the addition of rear ditch lights. I was gonna say class lights, but this one doesn't have it. So I'd sometimes run it in reverse for reverse ops, which it's kind of cool. The story about this is this one was bought by my brother during his first year at college in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Which is basically NS trackage. I know one of my friends would rant. Norfolk Southern's actually the Southern Railway. Yeah, he would rant about that for years. For ages to come, especially. But, it has run... Well, I was going to make I was having a video about it in the works about, like, average Roblox train experiences. You know, like, the bacon hair setting the switch against you, or or in my case, accidentally running into a moderator train and then getting banned, or someone deleting your train and then you crash out and delete theirs and stuff like that. But it's still in the works, and that was filmed in November of last year, so I could try and get that filming again. Next up, we probably have one of the most oldest locomotives in my entire model train collection, and that being Santa Fe 93, an SDP40. Now, I don't think Santa Fe ever had SDP40s. 93 probably would have gone to an FP45 that's trying to be restored. But what's crazy about this thing was cataloged when doing the research. It was cataloged in 1968. I saw on the research catalog for 1968 that it showed the SDP40 was Santa Fe, which I don't think Santa Fe ever owned this. This was just one of their fantasy schemes. So it was like 1968 to around like early to mid 1970s. And it certainly has aged a lot. It's probably the oldest thing I have. It's probably way older than me. Maybe it's older than my father even. He was born in 71. So you can tell there's a headlight in the nose, and there's another headlight up top, which I suppose is the gyro light. There also is, it certainly has aged a lot because there's no numbering in the number boards. The side windows are all shrunken down. No painted glass light detail. Simple road number 93. Very simple radiator fans. Very rusty underframe and trucks. And there's no handrail at the rear. There were couplers on these, but they fell off. Its drive is also really simple. Well, by that it could just come off. For some reason, the joints here fell off. I have to reapply them. But you can see just how simple it is. You just have the simple headlight, a simple motor with the simple flywheel. It certainly has aged a lot. Probably older soldering and oldest drive system. Hell, even the glue is not sticking on anymore. See how loose it is? That's just because the glue aged. Because it sat there for probably like 60 or maybe like 60 years. How I got this was, here. Let me get the shell back on so it looks nicer. Come on, little light. So how I got this thing was, I was at my model railroad club, and some guy came and he had like a box with like a ton of trains in it. I called dibs on Santa Fe 93. Some of my other members got the other things. He had some of these trains when he was a kid, probably also in like the 70s and 80s, which is kind of interesting. This one looks like it's painted in the Santa Fe booked scheme, as I heard. But, I got it because I thought it looked cool and I wanted it to run again. Spoiler alert, it did not run, but it only moved when you touched it or pushed it. I would like to make it actually fully run, because then that will be kind of cool. I know my brother's going to have some ambitious project of putting DCC in it, despite the fact it's from the fucking it's from the 60s to the 70s. And you could find some retailing for quite a good price. It's also in kind of a mint condition almost. I think if I could get it running and add extra details, I think it would look nicer. I have starting to try and get into weathering. I've used older rolling stock I had when I was a kid, or my brother had when I was a kid, and I would weather those for practice on weathering. I still have those cars. Well, they're at my grandparents' house. But, yeah. And so, I think we've reached the end of the, well, and so I think with that, we've finished off this review. Sort of. I would probably show all the footage of, like, every locomotive running afterwards, but, yeah. So, I'll probably show you that in a second. Oh, you can see one of the handrail things popped out. So there's that. But, yeah. So, thank you for watching, I guess. And, have a good day. But, also, before I leave, the reason of why I was gone for so long was because I've been doing mainly other projects with friends, and I was focusing on school a lot. And plus, I've been VCing with friends a lot, and I've helped with some of their videos. Like one of my good friends, and Terminator 1984's video, Desperate Times Call for Desperate Measures, where I helped set up their train. And I was referred to as Retro, because that's my Discord username. So, yeah. Anyways, bye.